Hello and welcome. This is Mousegunner, and we're back with some more of The Long Journey Home. So I've decided to do a new run rather than restart my failed one, and we're going to jump right in here. I'm not going to go over the mission setup in as much detail as I did in my introduction video, and I think I will change some things up. So in my last playthrough, the crew members I chose were Winters, Iacovelli, Simon Castillo, and the archaeologist. Well, I think I'm going to keep the archaeologist on. I'm going to dump the corporate guy because he seemed to be a waste of space. I'm going to dump the engineer because I think that she's so obvious of a choice, I'm not going to choose her. Instead, I'm going to choose our astronaut, Kirsten Barrasso. Now, if you haven't seen that introduction video, just a quick summary. She does have a cancer diagnosis, so she is going to possibly have some medical issues that we may encounter. But otherwise, she's a very capable crew member. Similar skill set to Malcolm Winters, but I think the two of them can work together and they can fill the role that our engineer could have done. So that is what I'm going to do. I think we keep on the archaeologist, and I'd like to take a scientist, another scientist. So we have a few different choices. I think because I've already played with Lebedev, I think the choice is going to be between Malhorta, which is the botanist, and Verdier, who is the theoretical physicist. I think I'm going to choose the theoretical physicist, partly because of the white pill that he comes with. So we'll choose that. Now, as far as the ship, I've played with the Ulysses a few times now, and as much as I still think that this is probably one of the better ships, I'm going to go for the Endurance this run. This is going to hamper me as far as maneuverability, device slots, and max jump range, but we're going to have a lot more cargo slots, which I think is good. We're going to have a lot more fuel tank capacity, and exotic matter tank is going to go up as well, but you know, I don't really necessarily care as much about that. Now, as far as the colors go, I think I'm going to change that up. So let us go for... this looks like a pretty cool color scheme. Let's go with our lander. Now, I went with the ISV Serenity. I still think that this is the better of the landers, and I am tempted to continue with it. I'll continue with it. We have the same seed we had last time. I don't really want to have the same seed we had last time. Can we... Oh, we can modify it ourselves, so... Aha! I have an idea for what I'll do it. I'm going to put this in myself. I don't think this was something that would necessarily be generated for us. It seems like the pre-generated ones are very limited, but I guess you can put in your own. So I'm going to call this one Run 2. Very original. Oh, helps if you go the right way in the alphabet. I'm actually curious if this will even work. I have never tried putting in my own. We probably should have put a space in the middle, but that's okay. And then I'll just make this an empty space. Not exactly sure. Probably have to go up to past the numbers. There we go. All right. Looks like Run 2 is locked in. We're going to keep with Explorer mode until I feel like I can actually pull off one of these runs. We're not going to start from Earth this time, though. We're going to just start after the jump, as I think we've already experienced the jumping. Now, because of the switch up of our crew, one thing we're going to have advantage of from the astronaut, Barrasso, is a hull repair. Before, with Winters, we had a lander repair. Now we have both. So that's going to help us out quite a bit. Go ahead and start the jump. So here we're going to have the cinematic that we jump. And unfortunately, that jump does not go to plan, and we suffer some damage. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip past that particular cinematic as we have seen it before. And here we go on the jump. Now, just like before, we're going to go from the top right corner of the map all the way down to the bottom left corner. But as we can see, our starting nebula is different. So we'll have to see what this seed, run 2, is going to look like. Okay. So we did not actually encounter immediately this event with this start. So I guess we're going to have to encounter it on our own. I am not even sure if this is going to be the same event. I mean, other times I've gone through with the tutorial, it was the same event. I'm also noticing we have no database missions, which is interesting. I wonder if that's more tutorial than anything else. I kind of wonder. Ooh, the glare from the lighting. That's one thing that I feel like they have to work on, perhaps, is the lighting in this game. Can be kind of intense to the point where you oftentimes can't see, which is really problematic in combat, and also problematic when, after combat, if you blow something up, you're trying to collect loot. It make it hard to see where you're going. Oftentimes there's a white arrow indicating where you need to go. Okay, so we're not encountering this? Oh, okay, so it gives us the keystone device already. Did we have any crew injuries? Okay, so it skipped over all of that bit. So that bit is part of the tutorial. I was not aware of that. So I guess it's important that you do play the Start from Earth, at least on your first playthrough, because you lose out on a lot of story if you do otherwise. Now, one thing we probably should change is our lander pilot, because it's going to probably default to someone that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we're going to have our test pilot do that. Okay, well, now that I'm familiar with how this start works, we can get out of here. So I probably wasted some fuel unnecessarily. And let's not compound that error by taking any hull damage unnecessarily. Now, I do want to take a look at some of these items we have. Okay, as I suspected, the white pill is a pain pill, so it's going to remove a number of maladies. One of them is... Oh, you know what? These might all be psychological because I don't see the concussion. So it possibly is not a pain pill. It's probably some kind of, I don't know, antidepressant or something. Or a, like, Valium. Okay. That makes me wonder about Verdier and his mental health. Maybe a problem for us. So we have maybe 2 crew members that might be a problem for us. One with a physical medical problem, and the other with a mental medical problem. All right, so we're going to alter our course, unfortunately having burned the fuel to do so. And we're going to go towards the nearest planet. Okay, and we no longer have that introductory mission that you normally have. Let's alter our course a little bit. Slow ourselves down. See if we can lock in. It looks like we are going to manage that. Okay. Okay, this is harmless. All that we're going to find on here is hydrogen, but I still think it is worth taking a look at. I'm just going to quickly look and see if we're going to have anything that I need to worry about. Now, the one thing with convection, I'm not 100% on. Like, you sometimes get winds, and I don't know if convection is what you would see with that. I mean, like, I don't know what the indicator of whether you're going to have winds or not is, but we should be okay. For this mission, and again, fuel is important, so... Alright, let's immediately kill our vertical speed. That has been killed for the most part. Let's start killing the horizontal speed and get over to our gas over here. Alright, 1 bit of hydrogen. This can be pretty challenging to do. Doesn't look like we're going to get a lot more hydrogen here. Maybe one more bit. Might be able to get away with another one. I think that's going to be it. Any more than that, I think we risk damaging the lander, and we're going to try and avoid that as much as possible. So we get a little bit of a hydrogen. That's going to be valuable, I think, for the future. Let's see if we can find other planets and other minerals. Metals would be nice. That way we know we could repair any damage that has occurred. Now, being on the easier difficulty, I don't expect to... I mean, you don't start with much damage at all. Let's change our trajectory here, so we're not going to run into star. I probably should have gone out of that star in quite a bit different direction. Okay, that probably will be a fine course. Let's give ourselves a little bit of speed. I may even check out the asteroids or meteoroids just to see what's there. I have never actually went over to one, but we're going to be nearby one anyway. So we'll see if there's anything to find. It was not something that was covered in the tutorial. Now this planet seems to be a decent size. There are metals and sulfates in this system. So if we don't find either of those in the planet, then I'm going to suspect that they will be found in the asteroids. So we're being pulled in a little bit by that red giant. But we're far enough away from it that it's not giving us any problems. At least I'm assuming it's a red giant. Yeah, it's a red giant. That might make going to the asteroids challenging, as we're going to be a lot closer to the star. Gravity wells will affect. It might be really hard. I don't even know if you can orbit. Something like that. Might be in a, like, almost like an encounter where you just... Okay, we're clearly not on course. Let's slow down. Let's see if we can get the gravity well to grab us on this planet. Might work. Might be a little too fast. Not quite enough speed here. Think we got it. Probably a little bit more speed, fuel than I wanted to burn. Okay, we're finding sulfates, aluminum, and hydrogen here. So I'm going to try and mine for all three. Where are we on our resources as far as that goes? We have a lot more cargo capacity than I'm used to dealing with. So that hydrogen that we mined filled us up. We also have copper to start the mission, which is nice. I don't feel like we need to use it now, but I feel like all three of these resources is nice. Okay, as far as the mission forecast, harmless. Atmosphere is thin, gravity is low, so this should be a fairly easy mission. There are some life forms on the planet. I'm not sure if we're going to see any place to land. If there is, I'll take the archaeologist and send her down. For now, we're going to go down with the test pilot and we're going to mine. Okay, it does look like we do have a landable spot. So vertical speed first. Low gravity means that should be fairly easy. And we'll go down, we'll get those metals and the sulfates. Sulfates are going to be the most important here because we have no source of filling up our EM tanks at the moment. Getting that aluminum might be tricky, just where it is. Okay, that should be a good touchdown. No winds to worry about. Might only be able to get a couple of those before it starts damaging us, so let's get out of that. Okay, now for the aluminum. This is going to be a tricky spot to mine. Just because of the hill. May have to use some down thrust to anchor us down. Okay. Not going to get a lot of resources here before it starts damaging us. Matter of fact, we're not getting any. I'm going to at least get one out of this sucker. There we go. That's probably good for me. Let's go get some hydrogen and we'll call it a day. I burned a lot of fuel anchoring us down onto that hill, so might not be able to stay too long. Try and kill some of our horizontal movement. As a matter of fact, we're going to need some vertical one here. Okay, wow, a lot of life forms here. And that spot. Could be dangerous. Okay, a little bit of sucking there, but see if we can get something here. All right, I was able to get a little bit of hydrogen there. I think we're out just for fuel consumption purposes. Although with a low gravity, this shouldn't be too hard to get out of here. Sometimes it, yeah, you get into orbit easy, and other times it seems like it takes a while. We can try and suck more of that hydrogen the next time I go down. But I think that was pretty successful. Usually your first system is going to be fairly easy, granted. I've had some rough starts. Okay, so let's use that one hydrogen we sucked up so that we can open up this slot. We only got one thing of aluminum. I think we're going to hold on to that for the meantime. And we're not going to need the sulfates until we jump anyway, so let's change our lander crew. And we'll go back down. Now again, I may get a little bit of hydrogen on our way back, but for the meantime, we're going to go down. And we're going to encounter whatever is on this planet, and I think our archaeologist is the best person for that job. There's always, I think, some danger when you're encountering these planetary events. Especially as this seems to be, this would probably be a great place for a botanist. Shame we didn't take one. Okay, it looks like we can visit. I'm surrounded by what look like pieces of coral, the size of skyscrapers. The wind dances through them, filling the air with an unearthly but beautiful music. Let's go ahead and explore. I've discovered an interesting looking plant. Scanner gives it the scientific name Marsilia carolina. Bring up a sample? Okay, well this could be a risk in and of itself for a number of reasons, but we will take it. Got it. Heading back to the lander. Okay. I mean, that could be something that we have a problem with once we get up there. Again, botanist would probably have been better for that because it is definitely a plant, it looked like. Okay, a little bit. There we go. Got one. Bouncing around here a lot. See if we can try and mitigate that. Another one. I didn't see where the bar was. Let's see where we are. Okay, it's starting to get into danger factor. Let's get out. We could turn that hydrogen around as fuel. First off, we're burning lander fuel. I suspect that burns from your overall fuel capacity. I'm not positive on that, though, because I don't recall it saying that in the tutorial, but let's go ahead and do it nonetheless, because these little 2 bits of hydrogen should not fill up our tank fully. But it's going to fill it up a little bit, which does help. All right, well, I could check out the asteroids. I don't have any clue if they actually are anything you can do anything with. As I said, I have never really attempted this before. I think this is going to be more for science than anything else, so we're going to just start moving here. Now, it's not too far away, so we might even be going with more speed than we need. Now, the star is going to start pulling us in really hard, so let's go ahead. Try and alter our course. Okay, it does look like an event that you encounter. So we're going to fly into it. Hopefully this doesn't do damage to us. Okay. Okay, there are white arrows, so I'm going to follow them. We'll see what happens. This is the first time I've ever experienced this. Now we are jammed, which I think means we can't leave if we want to. That's only as long as we're in the asteroid field, so once we leave, it looks like we'll be okay. I don't want to collide with anything, so let's be careful here. Oh, they're closing in on me. I gotta speed up. Now we're not particularly maneuverable, so it's gonna be challenging to move through here. Okay, that bit is moving that way, so try and move around. I hope this is worth it because we are going to be burning fuel and there's possibilities of collisions. I'm curious of if we can actually do damage to these. Let's just see. I mean, we hit them, but I think having the shields up would probably be a good idea just because may mitigate damage from collisions. I actually don't know. Okay, we're fairly close. Okay. Press X to deactivate weapons before you leave. Okay, well, that's the thing. As I suspected, you shoot at it, because what we have is a mining laser. Okay, and we've got some bits coming out. We found one copper. That's good. And another copper. All right. Very useful. Now, I'm actually curious what happens if we don't have a slot for one of the things that we get. I wonder if we'll put it on the lander where we have full slots. Okay, I see the other one. Okay, we're going to need to skit alongside it and fire. Oop, well, that was a waste. Might need a full broadside to do it. Okay. Another one broken up, open. Fortunately, that copper is right where we need to go. Might take a little bit of hull damage here. Oh, that's platinum. Yeah, a little bit of scraping, but I think our shield saved us on that, as I didn't see any hull damage. Might have been soft enough, too. It's hard to say. Okay. Well, platinum's very rare, if I recall correctly, so that should be very valuable. Let's go this way. Alright, so I should probably encounter asteroids more often, especially if I need metals. I don't know if gases can really be achieved through this. It wouldn't make... Oh, maybe. I mean, it's always a possibility, but I just assume that you're not going to see much in the way of that. I wonder if the color kind of gives you an indicator of what you're going to get, but I'm not positive in that. Full salvo should do it. Okay, it looks like at least one bit came out. Okay, silicates. So that's the green matter. Exotic matter. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Looks like we're even close to the edge of the map, perhaps. It's actually hard to say if we burn that much fuel in this, because I don't know if my fuel tank's gone down at all. So in counter mode, you might not burn through fuel, but again, we have huge fuel tanks, so it's kind of hard to say. I'm liking this craft, I think, better than the Ulysses. All right, let's lower. Let's see if it'll let us leave. Yeah, there we go. All right, well, that worked out. Now, the one thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on is to make sure we don't fly into the star, because we were headed in that direction. If it pops us out the other side, that would be bad. Okay, it popped us out in the right direction. So I think, first off, let's take a look at our stuff. All right, so it did put what we couldn't fit here in our lander cargo, which actually is fine for me because we will be using these as soon as we jump. As a matter of fact, all 3 of these might get burned once we jump. So I think we just go ahead with the jump. No reason to stick around. We've already mined what we can mine here. We've already encountered what we can encounter. Oh, I should probably take a look at that plant before I go too much further. So as soon as we jump here, I'll take a look at that plant, see what we have to say about it. All right, we only have 1 legal jump spot. We are kind of off in the corner here. Our jump range is going to be a problem. If we were in the Ulysses, we could easily have landed on the Allen star system. But unfortunately, we have the Endurance. I think that's the name of the ship, which has a shorter jump range. All right, well, we have a yellow dwarf star with a big gas giant, which we probably will not be able to land on, but there is a small rocky planet that we may be able to get some resources from, so I still think it is worth checking out. And who knows, we may encounter aliens. No stations, I don't think. There was nothing on that little indicator to say so, but before we go any further, let's take a look at that item. So, wonder what it tastes like. You can eat it. We can jury rig a barbecue and the engine, anything but protein mash. Little piece of it can't hurt much, so they all want to eat it. Interesting. This is where I think the botanist would probably really help, because he could determine whether that is a good idea or not. But unfortunately, all of these guys, this is not their specialty, so we have no idea if that's a good idea. But the thing with this is, you don't need food in this game. So I suspect that this is, if it is good, if it's not like poisonous and would not give us a bad effect, would remove one. So it's probably a good idea in my mind. Hold off until we actually have an injury of some type, and then we use it to see if it clears it up. On the other hand, it might only clear up special injuries, so it's hard to say one way or the other. But in any case, I think I'm going to go ahead and put in the cut in the video here. So we explored our first star system, and now we're going to be in our second star system. So we'll be picking up from there in the next video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.